What about AIPAC?
AIPAC never have and will never will.
Elon Musk lied about his involvement. He was actually trying to come to the island. Trump, of course, has lied about his involvement every single day. But someone that recently was really caught lying was Howard Lutnick, who said that he had cut Epstein off in 2005.
But Lutnick needs, I think, to come clean, and he needs to explain himself a hell of a lot more than he has.
We are currently in Nashville, Tennessee, with California Governor Gavin Newsom for the first stop of his Red State book tour. Governor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. This literally, we just got off stage. It's the quite literally, the first time I've ever done anything like this, which is go in front of a bunch of folks talking about the book and talking about the inspiration for the book, and trying to open up and be honest about not only what's in the book, but the world and the moment we're living through.
I want to talk to you about politics in just one moment, but first, let me know what we can expect from this book. What's the story that you tell in Young Man in a Hurry?
Well, one thing it's not is a sanitized version. It's not a political book. And I say that with respect, and I don't mean to malign or suggest pointing to any other books that are out there, but historically politicians, particularly those who are in elected office, tend to sanitize so much of what they write. This is anything but. I mean, I just broke everything open and really scrutinized myself, tried to take an objective look at my life, my life's choices, not only my life, but life of my mother, my grandfather, how that influenced me, the alcoholism, the suicides, the divorces, all those things that shape, I think, a lot of the experiences we all have. And, the title Young Man in a Hurry is also the process of becoming not just a young man, but becoming a man, taking responsibility, being more accountable for my family, for their welfare, and for my choices. And so it's also a journey. I call it a memoir of discovery. It was really a journey of discovery for me.
I found the stories you told on stage to be very captivating, very emotional. There was a moment when I was tearing up, and I was hoping my cameraman was too, because I didn't want to be the only one. So I look over and he's wiping his eye, and I was like, oh, I'm good. I can wipe my eye too. And then I was like, you're crying first, bro. No, but either way, it was genuinely really, really captivating, really emotional. And I'm glad that you were so raw in the speech and in this. What advice would you have to a young man who's growing up in today's America? I feel like I'm a young man in a hurry, but when I look up to the highest echelons of politics and the people I'm supposed to look up to, like the president, I don't see any moral clarity. Yeah. He's posting racist AI videos of our former presidents. He's calling for the arrest of the governor of my state of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. He's calling for the arrest of every single Democratic governor because he wants to squash the opposition. What kind of moral clarity would you provide to a young man who's growing up in today's America, or young people in general?
Well, I think the most important thing, and I wish I understood this years and years ago, learn from, don't follow others. Your expression's unique. No one else has it. And I say that because one of the things I've discovered in my own life is every time I compare myself to someone else, it created anxiety, man. Yeah. Comparison's the thief of all happiness. So this notion of discovering who you are, I mentioned it up on the stage today. Everyone has a story, and it's fascinating, unique. You see the world with a unique set of eyes. Your life is completely distinctive in terms of the experiences that have shaped it versus others. There may be commonality. There certainly is a lot more in common, but there's also nuance to that, and that's wonderful. Just stay there, stay present in that space. Don't put a mask on. I did. I was always trying to be someone, and I'm finally discovering myself and just letting go. Deep breath. We're all trying to be in a hurry. We're all trying to be something, be like somebody. But really the whole point of the journey, man, is discover yourself. Yeah. And if you could just stay there and settle on that, again, learn from, there's humility, great. And it's a hell of a way to live because you're living in the present. And you could be more to more people. You're more abundant. You're more open to experiences, adventures, things, advice, counsel. And I just think that's a big part of being a man and being a role model, being a kicker, because you're exactly goddamn right. It sure as hell ain't Donald Trump. And for a whole generation, it's been 10 years since they watched my kids. I got 2 young boys. I mean, they literally grew up and it was like their algorithms or this Peterson kid, from whatever his name, yeah. And then, then you got Kirk was all a big part of that. And, God bless him. But, it was all this, the Tate brothers, Andrew Tate, and, all these, the sort of bro stuff. And that's all the sort of Trump adjacent stuff that's not what I want my young boys to turn into. That's about power, dominance, and aggression. The superpowers are empathy, compassion, and collaboration, care. Those are the values that men can really thrive and find abundance in their lives.
Yeah, and the algorithms only incentivize the outrage. So whatever Trump or Elon Musk is saying on any given day is blown up in the algorithms. But your advice was really good. I feel like due to the competitive nature of America, it's really easy as a young person who's trying to compete for the next job or the next position to kind of lose the learning aspect. Like, I don't have to be that person. I can learn from that person and kind of apply it to myself. Speaking of people who are not good to look up to, it feels like so many people in Trump's administration have gotten caught lying, straight up lying about their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Elon Musk lied about his involvement. He was actually trying to come to the island. Trump, of course, has lied about his involvement every single day. But someone that recently was really caught lying was Howard Lutnick, who said that he had cut Epstein off in 2005. He said he got the heebie-jeebies, wouldn't let his family around him. But now we learn that he had visited Epstein's island with his family. He's in more trouble for alleged corruption with his family this week. Do you think Howard Lutnick should resign, be fired? What type of accountability would you like to see for these people who are just lying their asses off?
There's been no accountability across the spectrum. When the irony is, we're seeing there's been accountability around the globe, but not in the United States of America. And Lutnick's just exhibit A. He may not, I don't know, there's nothing to suggest he was a perpetrator of certain acts, but he certainly was an enabler because he knew at that point about the accusations. This was after these accusations were out there. He can't claim ignorance on the front end. In fact, he himself claimed knowledge and said he discussed me. I had the heebie-jeebies. And then we find out, well, that didn't stop him from going to the island and who knows how many times. So, we know what we know, but we don't know what we don't know because so much has been redacted. This cover-up continues. So, look, I'm all for accountability. This whole Epstein file, though, it's all about just the elites protecting the elites. It just goes to the worst of what our instincts were, that there's a certain set of rules for thee and then the rest of us. And Trump is sort of the manifestation of that. Lutnick falls very nicely knitted into that as well. And so I really like what Ossoff said. I'm going to Georgia next, about this Epstein class. It was very resonant, because it sort of captures, it layers so much of this mosaic that's being knitted. But Lutnick needs, I think, to come clean, and he needs to explain himself a hell of a lot more than he has.
It was the lies that were so damn offensive. The fact that he lied to the face of the American people, 3 weeks after they lied to our faces about Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. It is just straight gaslighting from this administration. They're asking us not to believe our own eyes. And I guess coming over the Democrats for a second, my team and I talk a lot about how the Democrats for the past decade have been unified by our opposition to Donald Trump, and we need something affirmative. We need something we can fight for. And in your state of California, CalRx has been something that you have been pushing the envelope on. Insulin is down to $11. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the first, we just did our own, what we call CalRx, so it's our own branded insulin. We're not subsidizing it, we're just lowering the cost. And by the way, that distinction for Democrats is an incredibly important one. We don't want to subsidize the inefficiencies of the system. We want to use, dare I say, free enterprise, capitalist tendencies as a government and compete against the private sector. They did everything to stop this, but we got the price down $11 a pen. And it's just one of many things we're doing. We're doing with diapers next. We just did a bunch of free diapers. Now we're going to start getting our own branded manufactured diapers, which is a big deal because half of the births in our Medi-Cal system, our Medicaid system, California Medi-Cal, half of them are people in that system can't afford the cost of diapers. So we're trying to do it in a lot of categories. And I think it's an interesting approach. So it's not just about coverage, it's about lowering costs. We have to have that mindset. California is the first universal state in the country, regardless of pre-existing conditions, ability to pay, or your immigration status, which I know is controversial, but we've done it. 6.4% uninsured rate. If it's not the lowest, it's right there, near the lowest in the country. But now, after we got coverage, our obsession is around cost. And this is one of the most interesting and exciting pieces of that cost puzzle and solution.
And California is such a progressive state as it pertains to healthcare. You guys built a firewall in this state after Roe v. Wade was overturned and invested a bunch of money into it, and it's turned into a sanctuary state. You turned it into a sanctuary state with SB 107. I got all this in the back of my head because I've been thinking about this. I've been doing debates about this. SB 107 turned it into a sanctuary state for trans people. Just such a progressive state. What do you think Democrats should be fighting for? Beyond our opposition to Donald Trump, what should we define our party as? What should America be defined as in the Democrats' eyes?
Well, look, in the spirit, many parts, one body. California is the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. 27% of my state is foreign born. We're a majority minority state. We practice pluralism. That's a word that a lot of people have to look up because it's a word no one talks about anymore. This notion that we're actively engaged in celebrating, not just tolerating that diversity. It's the reason Silicon Valley is Silicon Valley, not just the Central Valley. So we are the most abundant state as it relates to ag, $62.1 billion. We dominate in quantum and artificial intelligence and robotics and space, new technologies, R&D. We're the third largest capital in the world in R&D, research and development. And we're pushing out the boundaries of discovery and entrepreneurialism because of those values that are part of our DNA. And I think those are uniquely American values. I mean, you talk about, American values being defined broadly, both parties. Ronald Reagan himself, his last speech, talked about Lady Liberty's torch. And he talked about the life force, his words, life force of newcomers to the United States of America. And so there's this ability to get the first round draft choices around the rest of the world, the best and the brightest, pushing out the boundaries of discovery, these conveyor belts for talent, research and innovation, patents, institutions of higher learning, constantly doing more and better as it relates to lowering costs across the spectrum by being more innovative and entrepreneurial. AI is going to define our future. Profound ways. I think that 2028 election is going to be an AI election in every way, shape, or form. 2026 will be. But look, we have to paint a picture of a journey where everyone feels included and we can go on the journey together. It's the vernacular of the 60s. So we can solve for ignorance and poverty and disease. And this notion that we're all better off and we're all better off. And we have to be repairers at the same time of this breach. And we've got to sort of knit back that fabric of what defines the best of America that Trump daily is trying to vandalize. That's not the agenda. I'm not here promoting that agenda, but I think inherent in what I said are the values that I think define the best of the Democratic Party and racial justice, social justice, economic justice, but also pushing out the boundaries of discovery and opportunity.
That makes me very proud. Like an America that is based on innovation, but also diversity, being a melting pot that pushes forward technology. We want to remove a lot of these, my team and I have been talking about how we got to get these special interest groups, these disproportionately powerful interest groups and lobbyists out of politics so we can make real progress for the American people. I want to list off some special interest groups, and will you say yes or no if you'll take money from them?
All right, let's go.
What about big oil?
Oh, seriously? You're talking to the wrong guy. Like literally, big oil's number one enemy is me. So not a chance in hell.
Big tobacco.
By the way, they're the polluted heart of this climate crisis. Big oil and the lies and the mistruths they've been perpetuating the American people and the global world and the globe are disgraceful.
Big tobacco.
No damn way. Yeah.
What about AIPAC?
AIPAC never have, and will never will.
Were you promised to fight back against these disproportionately powerful special interest groups that are hurting the American people?
Look, I think you follow the money. Every time something goes wrong, follow the money. I support it. I continue to support it. We've struggled with it, but public financing, we do this. We're constantly doing what we call clean money campaign. And we have to do more and better in that respect. But it's, the revolving door, special interest and lobbying, all the self-dealing with stocks portfolios. I think we need to have some version of term limits for Congress. I mean, we have to be a reform-oriented party. And that's something in the past we were defending the status quo. Trump took advantage of that. Democratic Party needs to lean in. And when it comes to lobbying reform and it comes to these corporate special interests, we have to be much more aggressive. California is leading, but we still, with humility, have a lot more work to do, which I take responsibility to do more better.
We are working on an anti-corruption platform that we're calling Project 2029. So we're going to continue to weed out that corruption. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a young man in a hurry. Check out his book. Thank you so much, Governor. Genuinely means a lot.
Great to be with you. Thanks for coming out.